What is up, everybody? You know, I always start this show off by showing love to those companies that help make this podcast possible. First and foremost is going to be my friends over at Yellow Jacket who are doing some absolute amazing things. I always talk about the Titan Max because it's absolutely amazing. It really, really is. I know I may be biased, but I think it is one of the best all around manifolds that's out today that just not enough hype is around it and people need to be. I am doing some things with Yellow Jacket right now to try to get this into more hands of people. I'm going to try to make some videos to show what this thing can do. So I'm not going to bring that up today. I want to talk about some of their other things that they have that people may not realize is they have all the wireless accessories you could possibly have that are going to be able to connect with this. They revamped their app. Their app is absolutely amazing. They literally tore it down from scratch and rebuilt it. And I love the way it works now. It's connectivity, how easy, how fast my readings are there. I always tell you this, guys. I will never, ever tell you what to buy. Never. I'm never going to push a product in that way. But all I say is, all of you out there, if you're sick and tired of the same old song and dance, or maybe you're having an issue you don't like with what you're currently using, give Yellow Jacket a try. That's all that I'm saying. And nowadays, with True Tech Tools, another one of the show sponsors being so amazing, you can get your stuff on there. And then with Measure Quick, wish it was a sponsor, but it's not. Now, if you have multiple brands of tools, of these kind of tools, you can use them all together. So it's going to lessen the burden of having to go out and trying to buy all new things. I get it. These things are expensive. They're not cheap. And a lot of us spend a lot of money in these tools. So now if you want to upgrade something to get Yellow Jacket, but you're using some other brands, competitor stuff, you can put that all inside the Measure Quick app and use all of those different pieces until you start to build up or switch or whatever you decide to do. Or if you just want to use multiple brands to test a couple of different things. So with that being said, go check out. You can go to yellowjacket.com and check out all of their new products. I am going to have videos on every single one of these products, letting you know my opinions. And one thing I love about Yellow Jacket is they let me be honest. They let me be honest with them. I think that's why they're growing, because they don't want me to bullshit them. They said, Gil, how is this? Is it good? Would you buy it? Would you use it? What do you think the market's going to say? What do you think people are saying? And I give them the God's honest truth. And I want to see Yellow Jacket get their piece of the pie, the market share back. And I think they're on their way for sure. So with that being said, remember, 75 years of expertise built into every tool. Next. Guys, everybody knows VETO tool bags. VETO Pro Pack is the Cadillac of tool bags. They are the best in the business. Yes, some of them are pricey, but they will last you a minimum of 5 years. With that 5-year zero downtime warranty, it's going to last you 5 years. So if you buy a bag for $200, 5 years, you know at minimum it's going to last. All of my bags, a lot of them have had more than 5 years and they're still rocking and rolling. Normally, I buy new bags because new awesome bags come out and I want something else, not because the bag I have is something wrong with it. So now with all these promotions they have, so it's going from March 1st till May 31st. If you buy one of the bags, make sure you look. It has to be from a reputable retailer. So if you go to True Tech Tools, you can use the discount code Uncensored and save 8% on your order. Or if you go to a reputable dealer, supply houses should be fine. You can still qualify for this 2-tier promotion. So you're going to see with the bag, it will tell you if you're tier 1, buy any tier 1 product, you're going to get a free SPMC, compact zippered service tool pouch. You're going to get this absolutely free for buying one of the other bags. The other one is going to be a tier 2. Tier 2, buy any tier 2 product and get a free SC45, small, semi-rigid, multifunctional pouch, absolutely free with your purchase. So this only goes till May 31st, 2025. You can't read the picture. Obviously, the tools aren't included for those some people out there. But make sure if it's something you're going to buy, you're getting ready to go into summer, you want something new, go ahead and do it during this promotion and get a free tool bag. Keep it, give it away, whatever you want to do. Add it to your arsenal. Getting something free is always cool. So make sure you go check out my friends over at VETO to be a part of their spring promotional. With that being said, let's get on to the show. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless the United States, and thank you to all those men and women who defend it.
Welcome to the #1 rated HVAC podcast. If you're looking to grow in the HVAC industry, then you're in the right spot. Blue collar people talking about blue collar shit. Let's get better together. So turn up the volume, buckle your seatbelt, and let's welcome your host, Gil KV Jr.
Turn the mic on. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. I am your host, Gil KV Jr. Here we are, another Wednesday, another hump day, and another amazing show for you guys. Super excited about tonight, man. This is a guest that I've wanted to get on for a while. He's a very, very busy man, traveling all over the place. I've been fortunate enough to meet him several times in person and build a relationship with him over the years. And what he does is absolutely amazing. And yes, he does a lot of things for the plumbing industry, but you hear him talk, it's about the apprentice. And we all have apprentices in all the different trades. So, guys, without further ado, I hope you've heard of him. If you haven't, I am super honored to be the one to introduce you to him. Guys, so please put your hands together and welcome Mr. Dennis, the Apprentice.
Awesome.
What's up,
So
brother?
good to be here finally.
Yeah, man, I'm so happy to have you here, man. Like I said, I absolutely love what you do, and I think that your story should be told because you can see the passion behind what you do, and especially even now that you're, which we can talk about, is you sold your part of the business, so you're not even a business owner anymore, and you're just really fulfilling your passion, which I thoroughly respect about you, man.
Awesome. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, so I guess if you don't mind, man, let the listeners know a little bit about you and your background, my man.
Yeah, so I bought into my father-in-law's company, Gene Johnson Plumbing and Heating, back in 2001, right after 9/11, and so got right involved. I'm really entrepreneurial, so I loved it. I was looking for an opportunity to get into business, right? And so I did that, and my sister-in-law, Kimberly Keene, and I ran the company. And it was it was maybe 6 years ago, I was trying to get on, how do you get to the young kids? Because we can't steal texts from each other and grow our businesses, And so I'm like, how do we get out there? So I noticed I was really into training and training apprentices, and I started just making an Instagram on the way to work, a 1-minute little video on, how to be a better apprentice, right? How to rock your apprenticeship. And because I figured everybody has those issues, right? We're always complaining about the young people, but let's do something about it. It's a lot more fun to fix things than to complain about it. So that's kind of how it all started. I made a video every day on the way to work in my truck, and we owned a Zoom Drain franchise. We bought into the Zoom Drain franchise, and Ellen invited me to the Wet Show and bought me a microphone and wanted me to podcast at the Wet Show at their booth. So that's when I first podcasted, was live at the Wet Show. And now Here we are.
Nice. That's awesome, man. So if people don't know, so you're involved, I think it's PHCC. What exactly is that? And I know that you are on the board or something like that. If you could explain that to everybody a little bit.
Yeah, PHCC is the oldest association in America. It's Plumbing, Heating, Cooling Contractors of America. So every state has a chapter. It's for HVAC as well.
Nice.
And we're really just doing what the local independent contractor can't do. So we're lobbying at the state level, making laws. Like here in Washington, we got a plumbing bill passed where one plumber can sign for 3 apprentices instead of 2, and some other stuff, remote supervision and stuff like that. But then we lobby at the national, like, you know how we're complaining about different things like the gas bill, they're trying to eliminate gas or refrigeration and all that. You can complain about it in your truck, or you can get involved with PHCC at your state and your voice can get heard. Like last week, I was at the Olympia, Washington, at our state Capitol Day, and we actually had a lawmaker, a legislator, come to us and talk to us about some rental housing issues that we have in Washington. But if I was there by myself or you were there by yourself, we wouldn't have talked to a lawmaker. But when you go with a group that's representing contractors, they listen to you and you can get stuff done. So it's pretty cool.
Sorry, something popped up on this end. No, that's awesome. And I saw where you, if you can tell the story, I saw the young man of you online that you guys traveled to DC together. If you don't mind, let everybody know that story. Hey, if you don't, for some reason your mic is cutting in and out, but it's more like you're like not close to it or something. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure if the listeners are hearing that too, which doesn't make sense because we sounded fine before.
Yeah, weird. Okay, I'll keep it close. So Brady the Apprentice. So that's a whole other thing. Have you ever heard of Skills USA?
Yes.
Okay, I just learned about it through Brady. So Brady won his his state competition, and then PHCC found him and sponsored him and got him to Worlds in Lyon, France last year. And so they had me come and kind of tell his story about how he went from an apprentice to a state competition. Then I think he got second place at nationals, and then he went to Worlds. And he was just a great young kid, well-spoken, and I got to tell that story. And that's how I learned about Skills USA. I was podcasting at the national plumbing competition. There's 15,000 young people, all who have won their state competitions in 115 different trades. And it was awesome. You were always saying, where's the young people? Oh, they're right there. There's 15,000 of them. It was awesome.
Yeah. I love that you showcase that because, one thing that I really hang my hat on my career is helping the younger generation. All these owners sit around and complain, I can't find good people. I can't find good people. Well, there's a bunch of young people out there that don't know what they want to do with their future, that are ripe for the picking, that all you have to do is be out and about talking to them. And they're good people. I always say you can't make someone not be a shitbag, but there's some good young people out there that they're looking for a career. You just have to get out in front of them. And what you're doing is you're beating feet. You're getting out there. You're making videos that are talking just to them. It's not wrapped into something. So that's what I love about it. And we were just saying off air that I wish we had something like this that was just for the HVAC trade, because I think what you're doing is awesome for Apprentice in the plumbing industry. So how do you think, since you've started, how do you think you've seen the change as far as people coming in your own words? Like, how have you seen this impact the industry?
That's kind of an interesting, for me, it just gave me, I'm not complaining because I'm doing something about it. So, it just gave myself a different outlook, and we had a very positive atmosphere at our company, and we trained all our own people and grew a fantastic organization before we sold. But I think it did a lot more. It did as much for me as, or even more than it does out there, right, in the world. It's hard to measure what's going on. So I hear feedback all the time, and I'm in contact with people all the time. But as far as affecting numbers necessarily, I don't really know. It's a lot of faith.
Yeah, and it's such a big issue. You're at least moving it in the right direction. So this is something that you might not see the result of it for years to come. It's not going to be that instant gratification. But I always wonder this: when you are talking to the younger generation, what are they saying? What are you hearing from them? Because I have found out that the newer generation, they're different than the old guys. Like a lot of times it's not just about money. They want, it's about PTO and time off and not working 100 hours a week and stuff like that. What kind of things are you hearing?
Yeah, there's definitely a quality of life that I remember. Me and one of my plumbers, Woody, we're exers, and this one guy he's a fantastic plumber, licensed guy. We highly respected him. And we were frustrated because at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, he's at the Sounders soccer game downtown with his family. And we're all upset. Like, where is this guy, at 2 o'clock on a Thursday or whatever? And we started thinking about it. Like, he's got work-life balance. Here we are at work, and he's got this balance to himself that makes him a really interesting person to be around. So that's when I started questioning my own life-work balance, life-work balance. I've seen both. Like, I see lots of kids that actually, once they find what they like to do, they'll jump all in. I know a kid that is not even 20 years old who works tons. He loves being a plumber. He's not quite got his license. He's doing very, very well. He works all the time and he loves it. So like 15 or 16-year-olds, I think there's something to look for. I'll tell a quick story. I was at Boy Scouts, and this one kid, I wasn't really enamored by him. He just was kind of, not really there. And he came up to my kid the other day, and he had light in his eyes. His eyes were shining, and he asked my kid, "You going to be in shop tomorrow?" And he says, "That was a dumb question. Of course you're going to be there." And it's their favorite class. And so then I went and talked to him, and they love auto shop. And so this kid had light in his eyes for the first time that I had ever seen. And it's just because he kind of found how to, what makes him work, right? What makes him tick. So I think that's a lot of these kids in the schools, if they're not designed to be in schools, which all of us are, most of us didn't go to college, just showing them that there's an opportunity and that it's not get a higher education or go get a job. Plumbing, HVAC, all these trades are a higher education. So it's not a step down. It's just kinetic. It's hands-on. And probably the biggest thing I find when I ask apprentices, new ones, what's the most surprising thing you've discovered about the trade? Almost always they say how good it feels to help somebody else out. So that's pretty cool. And we keep hearing that the young people want to be part of the community and help out. And that's what we're doing in the trades every day.
Yeah. And what we do, you can do anywhere in the country. Yeah. Maybe the type of equipment you're working on, the weather's different, the seasons are longer or shorter, but you can do this anywhere. And I think it's a societal thing, changing schools, getting the vocational schools back in there. So kids are seeing this early to know it's an option and not just because they have a family member doing it. Which I love hearing these stories of people coming on, because it used to be like, I got into the trade. I'm second generation. My dad did it. If my dad didn't do it, I don't know if I would be doing it. So when I hear these stories of people are like, no, I was looking for a job and saw a recruiter or saw this and game in, I'm like, oh, that's awesome. I love hearing those stories. But it's also parents, not pressuring your kids that it's college or bust, because that's just not true. All these kids are wasting so much money going to college just to say they have a degree in basket weaving or something stupid, and they can't get a job. When you have these kids that are doing apprenticeships, going to the union or whatever it is, and they're making legit money. And I know the listeners have heard me tell this story a million times, but it means the world to me. When I was at Beltway, we had 4 to 5 guys that were under the age of 25, making almost $100,000 a year, that we had to give them financial lessons, which I give to Ryan, the owner. That was his idea, because they didn't know what to do with it. They were like, I'm making more money than my parents are. And to see that impact was amazing. One just got married, buying a house, and like that truly makes me happy and feels like I'm giving back to the trade. You know what I mean?
100%. I think parents are at least half the problem. What parent is hoping that their kid becomes a plumber or an HVAC tech someday, right?
Yeah.
They're not pushing them in that direction. And so I've actually started considering putting my focus more towards moms of high schoolers, right? Like all my social media is mostly directed towards the trades, but I'm going to start reaching out to, podcasts that the audience is moms of high schoolers and teenagers,
There you go.
and saying, hey, check this out. This is a great opportunity over here. And these kids are super smart. When you look at the jobs you text do, there's super intelligence behind that work.
Yeah, and what we do isn't easy, and I know it's not like the old, the trade has started to change over the last 15 years. Because I remember when I first got in, it was kind of the older generation. Like, you worked until they told you not to, and if you didn't like it, hit the road, Jack. We'll find somebody else. But companies have realized that the times are changing. Not saying there's not still some of those out there, but culture. Nobody talked about culture 20 years ago. It wasn't a word in anybody's repertoire. Nobody cared. So now you see this culture where they're building it like a family, where they care. I always wanted people, I want you to be at your son's ball game, your girl's recital. I want you to have that time. Yes, there's going to be days we have to work late. I'm not saying it's all, sunshine and rainbows, but we can have that work-life balance and still make really good money. It's the quality of work that we're getting. And to care about people. So I think that's also bringing the younger generation in, because they may hear from somebody, it's like, oh, well, my dad was a plumber and HVAC guy, man. I remember I never saw him. My parents got divorced, sadly, that's big in the trade, divorce, addiction, which is why I like to talk about those things so much. But let's not focus on the negative things. There's also a lot of positive things. People are changing their lives and doing things they never thought they could do because of this trade. If you treat this like a career and not a job, the trades will be good to you. I promise you.
Yes. I had a TikTok the other day that I got like 140,000, my biggest TikTok ever.
Nice.
And what it was I was saying, I was telling kids, stay at home, be a blessing at home, do the dishes, mow the lawn, but stay at home, get in the trades, save your cash, stack your cash for 4 years, then move out after you're licensed. And I had like 200 or 300 comments of all moms saying, please talk to my kids about this. But yeah, if you save your money while you're learning the trade and stack your cash while you're living at home, the doctors, the attorneys will never catch up, right?
No.
We'll never catch up. I think one of the problems is like you said, they start making a lot of money, but they don't know what to do with it. Have you read this book, The Richest Man in Babylon?
I have not. I've heard of that book, though.
This is our book. Gil, this is our book.
Is it
This is
really?
it's about a chariot builder. He's a blue collar worker. He builds chariots. It's kind of written in Old English, like back in the Bible days or something. But the main principle is a part of everything you earn is yours to keep. And so if we can get these kids, saving 10 or 20% from the very first paycheck, you don't have to kill yourself and work overtime to make a good living, because we start to make our money work as hard as we do, right? But if we don't catch them, they start making big money. They start buying trucks and stuff. They blow all their money and they get in trouble. So I think that's a lot of work-life balance, is getting them to start saving from the very first paycheck. And if they'll do that, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, well, yeah, and I agree with that 100%. That's why we did the financial class. We had one of them come in with $5,000 Gator shoes at one of the company parties, and I'm like, that's not what you do. I'm glad that you splurged on yourself, but yeah, that's not what you want to do. And I agree. I'm trying to get this young guy on the podcast that I met at a supply house. He is 23 years old. He's been in the trade since he was 19. Lives with his parents, has been saving his money, and we got to talking about real estate. He just bought a 4-unit townhouse thing where he lives in one, and the other, he's living there for free. This kid, I wish I could start over and be this kid. He's got such a good head on his shoulders. He's got money in the bank. He said, right now, I don't have a girlfriend. I'm working. Once I, start to settle down, maybe some things will change, but he's truly building wealth. He's building assets. And I was like, dude, you've got to come on my podcast and tell your story, because this is amazing. This is a testimonial of kids your age of what you can do if you have your head screwed on shoulders. I mean, your head screwed on your shoulders. Even people a little bit older than you can start in your 30s and your 40s. It doesn't mean that you have to be 23, but for him to be 23 and do this, I was awestruck and I was so happy for him, genuinely happy for him.
Right. That's what motivates me, because it took me, I was 26 years old before I found the trades. I was a good guy, working hard, trying stuff. Nothing really clicked. And so if we can help these kids get traction in the trade and start saving their money, they're going to make life look so easy. And it will be easy compared to us. Most of us dug a big pit of debt before we got our heads screwed on straight, right?
Yeah, because well, people, it's what they say about in financial lessons, and I was this way, Oh man, you make $100,000 a year, but you spend 90, so you're not really doing that well. But then you see people like I got friends of mine; they're both teachers, don't make that much money. They should be, but they do whatever they want because they live well, within their means. So just getting
Right.
people to understand that can help affect their quality of life too. And it's like, hey, you can go on vacation when you want. You can do those little things. Just don't splurge on the dumb stuff and buy the things you don't know. Like I get it. It's nice to have a brand new truck. We all want them. And all the money that I've made in my career, I've only bought one brand new car. And that's what I have now, only because it made sense. I was looking used, but I got a deal. Otherwise, I didn't buy brand new because of the cost difference. So it's just trying to get a little bit better financially. And these kids, I agree. Soon they're going to be in the neighborhoods and it's going to be like, oh, what's that guy do? Oh, he owns a plumbing company. He's a plumber, or that's an HVAC guy in the same neighborhoods with the doctors and the lawyers. But we can go home at night and lay our head down knowing that, what we do gives back to the community and people aren't mad because, they had to spend $300,000 to get a surgery on their wrist or something. You can feel good about
Yes.
what you do.
Absolutely. And they're looking for that. The young people are looking how to contribute to society. And no one ever told them about how, we're helping people every day. That's what gives us work, right? We're helping people. We're either building something for the first time or fixing something or making it better. And there's super job satisfaction. And then there's that feeling of giving back and being a part of the community that these young people are looking for.
Yeah, yeah. So how are the trades in because you're still in like the Seattle, Washington area, right?
Right.
How are the trades around there? Because you see all the stuff on the news with stuff is, crazy inside of there. Is there a lot of companies? Is it a highly populated area as far as like a lot of work?
Yes, there's tons of work. There's companies that are slow and there's companies that are busy, right? And I think there always will be. But yeah, there's plenty of work. No one's sitting around for sure.
Nice. Nice. Because
Yeah.
you guys, your seasons, I know they say it rains a lot, but being up in the West, like, are you guys like kind of like long summers and like short winters, or kind of how is the weather where you are?
It's more mild. It only gets really hot for a few weeks out of the year, usually in August. And usually gets really cold maybe in February, late January for a few weeks. But it's pretty moderate, really.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. Because I know, I mean, here in Maryland, I mean, we have 3 months of summer if we're lucky. So normally
Right.
there's 3 months to determine whether you end up in the red or the green. So that's where like maintenance and all these other things and getting into, be able to serve your customers in different ways. Not everybody's Southern California where you have, 9 months of summer, or in Texas. And I'm not knocking them, touche. It's amazing. Good for them. Thrive in those situations. Mm, But I feel like that's why, or I'll ask your opinion. I mean, you guys did heating, but no air conditioning, correct?
Yeah, we did plumbing and we did mostly radiant, like boiler work, tankless work, that kind of thing. But yeah, I think a lot of companies are plumbing and heating to balance that workload out, right?
Exactly.
And we cross train, and we did forced air for quite a while, but we really specialized in the hydronic side. So probably maybe the last 5 or 6 years, we didn't do any furnaces. We referred them away because it was all boiler work.
Yeah. And I think that's good. I tell people like there's a guy that I see that There's one around my local area that all he does is mini splits, and he's really good at it. He found his niche. Like, don't feel like you have to work on everything. If you really have a passion with something and there's a need, then do that, and don't feel like you have to take every customer. But you know, so that's awesome. Like one thing, the companies I've been like, oil is huge in the Northeast. But we didn't work on oil because the oil companies were giving these people all kind of discounts on oil, which is astronomical to do stuff through them. And then we didn't work on steam boilers only because a lot of the younger generation, it was hard to teach them. So we worked on regular radiant boilers, stuff like that. But it sucked because I like working on those things, but I had to sadly realize that I'm not the one going out to work on it. So we had to minimize some of the things we touch, and we didn't do a lot of geothermal either, only because there's a bunch of places around here that specialize in it. So finding techs and training, it just made it easier and limited. But it was hard because I'm one of those people. I like to fix everything. I like to make the old stuff work, and
Right.
know that I can still do it, but at the same time, give the customer all the options and let them make the decision. Which I
Absolutely.
think that we need that nowadays. Not just to go in and you need a new one kind of deal.
Absolutely. I think one of the benefits of Seattle is, it's a real high tech area. So there's a lot of people making really good money that have no idea how the mechanicals of their house work, right? They're just lost. So the techs would come back after some emergency and say, when the crap hits the fan, we're in big trouble because they don't know how to turn off the water. They don't know how anything works in their house, but they make great money. They have beautiful homes. So it's a good market for tradespeople.
Yeah, well, and that's like most of the people with their HVAC system. If their thermostat's new, they just assume the system. What do you mean it's brand new? Well, that's the thermostat connected to a 40-year-old system. Um, but yeah, no, that's funny. This is off topic. So, is Starbucks cheaper in Seattle than everywhere else in the world, or you guys still pay, $10 for a cup of coffee like we do?
Absolutely. Yeah, we pay top dollar.
Oh
Yeah.
man, you think that you guys would at least be getting it cheaper out in Seattle? That's BS.
No, no, it's still super expensive. And there's still a line around the drive-through, right? Like people pay it.
Yeah, I just can't bring. I'm fine with the gas station coffee that's been sitting there. The 10W30 in a cup. I can drink that.
Right?
Um,
Caffeine is caffeine.
exactly. So I guess I'll say this. So everything that you've done, which like I said is absolutely amazing. Like in your mind, how far would you like to go? Like, what are some things not for you to give out? Say like things that you're going to do, but how far would you like to take this? Like in your mind, if it was unlimited resources, you could do everything. What would be your end goal?
Boy, I'm wide open. Like, it's really different when you sell your company. Um, After you've ran a company for 23 years and all of a sudden it's not yours anymore and you're not there, it's a whole new world. And um, I miss it a lot.
I bet.
So, so if I can, what really turns me on is helping young people find traction and get going. Again, I was 26. I was a good guy. I was trying stuff. I didn't know what an apprenticeship was. I didn't know I was an apprentice. I didn't know about an apprenticeship until I was an apprentice, right? So sharing the message with young people that the trades are a good avenue, letting them find something to do with their hands and getting off on the right track. I kind of have a vendetta about the colleges. They make you, if you're not going to college, they make you feel dumb, right? Like, well, you're not going to go to college and I guess go figure it out. And so I want to show kids how to figure it out and show that the trades are a great place to be. So there's about 40% of the high school graduates are not going to go to college. We know that. So, boy, if I could just get 1% of them to figure out that the trades are the place to be, that would be awesome.
Yeah, no, that is amazing. And um, I love hearing about some of these programs to highlight something that's not me that I'm trying to be a part of, but I don't think I can get up there. But Mr. Brian Orr, Craig Migliaccio, and Mr. Ty Brannaman are doing something with Brian Orr that he's called his Grit Foundation. That he is doing. it's pretty much a day camp for younger kids, and it's all about the trades where they help them make stuff and they kind of build this box and different things to get to take home, which I love seeing those kind of things happen to get the younger generation. One thing that I love that I got to get back into that I did a couple of times is speaking at schools.
Yeah.
Being able to go talk to these kids, and just show them some of the different things. And I thought that these kids are going to be like, who the hell is this guy? But it was amazing. I had a bunch come up and talk to me afterwards and, you know, hey, can you do this? Or how can I get into it? And blah, blah, blah. And the conversations I had were truly amazing. And I'm mad at myself that I haven't done it more, because I feel like
Yeah.
some of us who have social media presence, or even if you don't, going to these schools and talking is huge because we're getting to them at a younger age. And I don't know if you ever done that or thought about it, but you definitely should.
Yeah, no, I have a couple teachers that call me and I go speak to their career classes like twice a year.
Awesome.
So that's totally fun. And it's fun I always ask who's going to college, and half the class raises their hand. And I say, okay, I'm not talking to you. You guys can go back to sleep. Okay, who's not going to college, right? And then I'm here to talk to you. And they kind of perk up a little bit, right? And then just start sharing what's so cool about the trades, right? And you'll always get a couple kids, their eyes are shining, right? I look for the eyes that if you can see it and they've got brightness in their eyes, they're like, oh, wow, this might be for me. And if we would all just find one apprentice, like we look at it like it's this huge global problem, and it is, but really we just need everybody to find one person and train them, right? Just find one. If everybody will do that, we'll be way better off.
Yeah, that's why at the end of every show, I always say, do the little things, make yourself better than the next guy or girl, but give back to someone. No matter how much you can still give back to one person and help them. And even if you only been in the trade a couple of years, you still know more than someone who's coming in green. And if we start getting back to that kind of mentality, is how we're going to get those people back into the trades. And one thing I want to back up to make sure I say this, man, I want to salute you for being a business owner for 23 years and having the opportunity to be able to sell it and do your passion. Because a lot of techs look at the owner, oh, they sit back and just count their money and stuff like that. When it's not true. I've been a technician, I've been a GM. I haven't owned an HVAC business per se, but I've been on all ends of it, and I know how much work it takes. And nobody's in business for 23 years by accident. You're just not. I don't care
Right.
what people think. So the fact that you were able to do that and sell it, the company's still there, and get out to be able to get your reward on all the work that you put in for 23 years is absolutely amazing, man. I salute you for that.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. I always knew I was going to be in business. So I didn't know what it was, but I'm really glad it was plumbing.
Yeah, no, that's all. And and it's funny, I always say it's kind of like the military. How like Marines will joke with the Navy guys or the Army guys, but we all respect each other because we understand that all of those branches are what make us a superpower, the most badass fighting force on the planet. Well, it's kind of with the trades. We may joke with plumbers or electricians, but we understand that all of us are needed to make a house go up, to make this building work. I say when it comes to a doctor's office or a surgeon, guess what? If the AC's broke or the plumbing's not working, surgery's getting canceled that day.
Absolutely.
These lawyers, and judges, there's no AC or the plumbing's messed up. Guess what? It's canceled that day. Like, we are important, and it sucks that it took something like COVID for people to realize that because we were essential workers. We should have always thought that about ourselves and hold ourselves to a higher standard. And I love the movement that is going on now with like HVAC Tactical and the Ward Show and those different things, kind of building this community to let people know that what we do is important. I mean, there's guys in the chat that work from residential to commercial to refrigeration to some really big stuff. And if God forbid we weren't there, the world would notice.
Totally. I think that all that humor, and it's rich humor between the trades, it shows it's indicative of the respect that's there for each other. Like, when you don't respect someone, you don't joke. So the fact that there's such rich humor, we all respect each other and we get it. And it's fun.
It is fun. I have so many friends that are in the trades that, own electrical companies or own plumbing companies. And I just see them living, amazing lives with their children and stuff like that. And it warms my heart because I really do. The blue collar trades are running through my veins. I think I've always had the mentality, the trades have been good to me. I have been able to live a good life. Um, once first couple of years, I didn't realize what my dad gave me because I didn't know what I wanted to do. And then finally, when I realized, Dad, my dad gave me a pretty awesome trade. Now I want to be serious. But I've always wanted to give more to the trade than I ever took from it. And,
Right.
That's why I started this podcast. Never in a million years thought it would turn into anything. I'm extremely grateful that many people listen to it. But I think that we're just scratching the surface on the direction that we can go. And I feel like 10 years from now, it's going to be people wish they were a part of this club. The shortage is not going to be there anymore. I hope that's the case, if all the stars align.
Totally. It's interesting. Like AI is taking up a lot of jobs. Like I just heard, Tesla's coming out with those, driverless Ubers. Like I think there's like 7 million Uber drivers or something like that in America. It's like, so we might have an influx of people coming into the trades out of necessity, actually. So yeah, who knows what the future is?
Yeah, no, I didn't think about that. And that's true because, right now, AI can't take our jobs. Yeah, they can help some of the tech support lines and stuff like that, which is amazing. But as far as what we do, robots can't do what we do. It's just, at least not now. So,
Right.
yeah, and I love seeing this reaching out to the younger generation. That's awesome with the content. So now as far as Dennis the Apprentice and what you do, like this is full time, right? Because I forget the gentleman's name that I met. Like you have a full time like videographer, photographer that's with you when you go to these places and stuff.
Yeah. So not right now with Chad, but yeah, Chad was he did our video work at our company. So when we sold the company, I just had him come along and we get along great. We sponsored a bicycle race team together and did a whole bunch of stuff together. So as I come up with projects that make sense, he'll be included. We still work together a lot because he helps with PHCC as well. So, but that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, no, it was really nice to meet him, and it was good to see. Like sadly, my photographer is Scott, HVAC rookie. He's my cameraman and doesn't know what aperture and all that stuff. I'm just kidding. He helps me a lot and does it for free. So
Awesome.
yeah, no, that's awesome, man. So I guess I didn't know that the PHCC was all over. So what separates them from like the ACCA and stuff like that? It's just different networks.
Yeah. So ACC is focused, entirely on air conditioning, right? And heating, the forced air side mostly.
True.
And PHCC was first, and it does both. I think PHCC is more powerful politically, but they both work together. They both serve the same purpose. And a lot of people are confused. Like you have Nexstar and all these different best practice verticals, and PHCC does a little bit of that, but it's the only place that has any political clout of any kind that can make a difference, right? And so they do have a segment that does some basic teaching of business, but I would say at least half of their program is advocacy at the government level. And so you'll see it. Some people think it's a little bit older. Well, yeah, it's a volunteer, and you've got people like myself and older that have sold their business, or the business is big enough that they can take time to volunteer. It's all volunteer. And people don't realize how important it is. I think every contractor should be a member of an association because they're doing things that we can't do as independent contractors, right? And the more members they have, the more clout they have. Because when you're on the phone with a lawmaker talking about something, very early on in the conversation, they'll say, how Now, big is PHCC? And well, we represent so many families, but the more people you represent, the more clout you have, and the more the lawmakers listen to you. So I really think everybody should be a member. It's very inexpensive, and people often ask, "Well, what do I get out of it?" Well, it's not so much what you get, but it's what it's doing for you on the political side, the advocacy side.
And just the networking and meeting people. You know, like that's one of the reasons. Like, yeah, we always say I love AHR and expos like that because you get to see new products and stuff like that. But it's the networking, it's the friends I've made, people I get to meet, you, a bunch of people in the chat. Like that's what I love. I'm a people person, so it really makes me want to check out the local chapter around here. You know, just to try to start talking to them, maybe get somebody to come on here because I love advocating for things like that.
Yeah, you totally should. You know, like there's here Washington is they're pushing this. I haven't heard it about this year, but last year, this heating thing, like if it's over 80 degrees, you have to have longer breaks and all this stuff about being in the heat. Well, that's when we work, right? When it's hot.
Yeah.
So if you're not involved in the political process, they'll pass all those rules because the lawmakers don't know any better and they think it sounds good. They don't want to abuse they don't want to abuse workers. And so when you're part of an association, then the association has the political clout to push back on those kind of crazy ideas and say, that doesn't make any sense. Every attic's 80 degrees. Like if you want us to come to your home, you've got to be more liberal in your laws that you're making. And so what we say out here in Washington is you either can be on the menu or at the table or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
At the table or on the menu. So I would encourage everybody to join an association for sure.
Yeah, I love that. And that gives us a voice because how many times do you hear technicians of plumbing, whatever, HVAC say, oh man, this new stupid thing's getting passed and they have no idea what we're doing. Well, this is our opportunity to be able to make a difference, not just sit around the van and bitch about it, but to actually do something about it. Because, you know, even the EPA, like a lot of us know the refrigeration stuff that we do with these refrigerants is all BS. It's all changing just for a money scheme. But that's all we do is sit around and bitch about it, get nervous. Oh, these changes are coming. But something like that, we can be like, you know, and maybe the EPA is a little different because that's a lot bigger and, you know, but at least it gives us a say. We have somebody that's fighting on our behalf that we can actually talk to. So I actually like that. You know, I'm all for like stick it to the man kind of deal.
Yeah.
So making sure I have a voice. I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna look that up and see how I can get in touch with you know, my local PHCC.
You should, because it's easy. You know, a lot of people can't afford to be involved that much, but like I didn't ever expect to be on the national board. But now in May, I'll be back at Washington, D.C., and I'll have meetings scheduled with congressmen and senators from my state to advocate the issues that are coming up. I don't know what they will be, but they'll tell us what they are and educate us on what the issues are. And then it feels way better, like you said, to do something about it. And then you realize what other people are thinking about it, right? And so when we're driving our trucks, it just doesn't make sense. So I love being involved that way.
Yeah, when you come to DC, let me know because where I'm living, I'm going to go back to closer to Baltimore. Where I am right now, I'm 15 minutes from DC. So
Really?
yeah, that's where I am. So I moved up here, but now because of the divorce, I'm going to be going back closer to Baltimore. But even in Baltimore, DC's 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Actually, DC's probably closer than that, maybe 15 minutes with traffic, but it takes me 30 minutes to get to Arlington, Virginia. So it's not far. So yeah, definitely let me know, man. I'd love to take you out to dinner or do something. I know those trips are, you know, they're planned out to the T as far as what you're doing. But if you have a free moment, definitely hit me up. I'd love to, you know, see you.
I will. I actually come in a day early because coming from Seattle to DC, I got to get there a day early to get to the meetings on time. So I'll have some free time when I get there.
Nice.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, cool. I'm looking forward to it. Well, man, sadly, we're almost at an hour. These shows go by so fast, man. Is there anything that, you know, maybe that we didn't talk about that you'd like to get out before we end the show?
Oh my goodness. There's so much, but yeah, save it. This is for Tex. So Tex, I consider you the original professional athlete. You know, Russell Wilson has his football, but you've got your pipe wrench, your gauges, right? We use our bodies and our skills to make money, and we make really good money. So um, make good money, and a part of everything you earn is yours to keep. So start saving 10 or 20% of it. And I know it's hard to start saving, but if you pay yourself first and figure out how to live on the rest, that's life, right? Isn't that life? And it will always be that way. So just start now and start putting your money to work as hard as you work, and life gets a lot easier, a lot faster.
Amen to that, man. My brother is very good financially, and I was young and dumb and spent more money than I made. But just so everybody hears this, I've had financial people in the podcast. We've talked about it, but they say you need 20 good years. All right. So I don't care if you're in your 40s, whatever it is, start putting money away, and the earlier you do it, like those 20-year-old kids, they start doing it. They don't realize that they might be able to retire if they want when they're in their 40s and go do a whole nother career. So just be smart. We beat up and abuse our bodies, and nobody wants to be doing this when you're 50, 60 years old. And it hurts my heart when I see some of these people that are that age still installers or still climbing through crawl spaces, because they have to, not necessarily because they want to. So make sure you don't make those, same mistakes. Be smart. I always say you have to have an end game in this, because like the professional athletes, normally they play good, 10 years. If you're 30 something years old in the NFL, you're old because your body can't take it. Well, we're the same way. Granted, we're not getting in car accidents like them, but we abuse our bodies and the heat and the elements. So please be smart. So Dennis, I want to thank you so much for coming on, man. Like I said, I want to praise what you do. I think it's absolutely amazing. The fact that you sold your company, you're not even in the trade. This is your golden years to be able to do whatever it is you want to do, and you still want to give back to the apprentice. It's extremely admirable, and I love what you do, man. Keep doing it, brother. And if I can ever help you in any way, I'm always here.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I'm super glad for what you do, because the young people start looking into the trades and they find you, and you're doing a fantastic job too. So keep representing the trades.
Thank you so much, my man. I really, really appreciate it. I'm going to go ahead and close the show out. If you got to go, you can go. If you want to hang tight, it'll take me about 5 minutes to close the show out.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Gil.
Thank you, buddy.
Yeah.
Anyone, if you want to find Dennis, if you look down in the show notes, his links are there as far as his DennisTheApprentice.com, and then his school that he's involved in is also down there. So if you want to, please, I suggest you click those links and go check him out, because what Dennis is doing is truly amazing, man. It really, really is. So I didn't in the beginning of the show. Thank you guys for letting me know about you didn't hear something. I'm not sure what happened, but I will look into it. But I didn't give some shout outs, so I want to try to shout out everybody real fast. So obviously, thank you to my moderators who are in here, Rookie, Mr. Jason Johnson, Mr. Zeke Warner. These guys are all like brothers to me. I truly love these guys. Thank you so much for being here. Mr. Freon Leon, Mr. Sammy, how are you doing? Mr. Nasty was in here. Let me make sure I go back and don't miss it. Anybody? Let's see. I think I got everybody. It wasn't crazy tonight. If I missed you, I apologize. I'm trying to go back real fast to make sure I didn't miss anyone. I think that is everyone. To Freon and Sammy, thank you guys for still being here, especially after the whole debacle that I've had with shipping you guys the stuff, man. Just please understand, I am going through a lot of life changes right now. So thank you guys so much for bearing with me. And I promise this stuff is going to go out. And when it does, I am going to make it worth your while. So I really appreciate it, because you guys could have said, hey, fuck Gil, and you're still here every week. And I thoroughly appreciate that. I'm just trying to get back on my feet. A lot of people that are close to me know what's going on. So I'm just trying to get through this tough time in life. And when I get back on my feet, I promise I will make it up to you guys. So thank you guys so much for still supporting me and being here. I really, really appreciate it. And I am a man of my word. Those things are still sitting there. You will get them, and I will make sure it's even some extras. So thank you. Be quiet, Rookie. But with that being said, man, guys, make sure you follow the podcast on all the social media sites to stay up to date. I have a lot of new things coming. Um, Trying to start making some more YouTube videos and getting into that lane. I've been talking to some different people. So I got some shot. I just got to get them edited and get them out. So stay on the lookout for that on YouTube. I'm really excited about these videos and kind of another avenue that I'm taking the podcast and taking full advantage of the uncensored side, so to speak. So with that being said, man, I'm going to close this thing out. Guys, remember to keep your head on a swivel, man. I don't care if you're driving, whatever it is, with ladders. You put up a ladder, like be safe, man. My dad fell off a ladder and it ruined his career. It's how I got into the trade, but I'm not scared of them. It just made me want to be a little bit smarter when I go to do it. When you're driving, whatever it is, I want each and every one of you to make it home the same way that you left. Do the little things, set yourself apart from the next guy or girl. All right. Keep trying to be the best version of yourself and give back to the trade, man. You just heard Dennis say, if we all help find one apprentice or help teach one person, we can grow our industry and have that impact. So make sure you're doing the little things and then just care about each other, man. Talk to people. Hey, you notice something, you notice this, like you put out positivity, you get it back. And just caring about each other goes a long way. And I know it sounds corny and cliche or whatever, but it really does, man. Build relationships with people, the people you work with, the customers, all that. So, with that being said, man, I love each and every one of you guys. Thank you so much for supporting me. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. And with that being said, man, I'll see y'all mofos next week. All right. See you. Stay safe.
Thanks for listening to the HVAC Uncensored podcast. Don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Instagram or email us anytime at hvacuncensored@gmail.com. Now, get back to work. Shut this down. The views and opinions shared on the HVAC Uncensored podcast may not necessarily be the views and opinions of our sponsors or guests.